a goal, Quishbilly, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Thank you.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome back to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Everyone, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Ladies and gentlemen, Huddersfield Town will be playing 4-4-2 because he's ruined it already. I told you, Kill, it were a bad idea getting him on. Right, so to get it forward successfully, you need a silky midfielder to be able to loft the diagonal accurately forward. We've got Ian Kilroy Silk to battle the defence, stick his elbows in and cause a nuisance mostly to the agendas. We have the target man, Richard Kosik Kosmala. I needed a short, speedy striker to feed off the scraps, and returning to the pod is a Town promotion hero. It's Phil Senior. How are we doing, boys?
Hey. Good evening.
2 wins in a week. Welcome to the Bayern Munich podcast, where we just win all the time. It's gets boring. Yeah, I'd rather talk about defeats.
I can see me using that mute button quite a lot tonight. Right, okay, so first off, lads, let's get this over with because it'll be unbearable later if we don't. If you'd have listened to our driving show, you would have heard Ian Kilroy predict a return to league action for Owen Goodman, Ruben Ruskin to oust Sean Rowan at left back, and him predict a 3-1 win with goals for Dion Charles and Bojan Radulovic, whereas I said 2-1 with goals from Charles and Wiles, with Town conceding a silly late goal to keep us on our toes. So go on, Barry Silkman, have your moment and just enjoy yourself whilst we take a moment.
Matt, I'm not getting too high. There's always another game coming up. You've got to stay rational. You've got to stay calm, and you've got to just focus on the next one. And that's what I'll be doing, Matt. I don't want to rub it in everyone's face, but did say Plymouth were awful. Did say Plymouth centre backs were probably the worst in the division, and that they defend so narrow. They play such awful possession-based football that we've had to sit through at times over the last 3 seasons. It was it was a game, Matt, that was quite easy to predict, I think, because Plymouth are so one-dimensional, as everybody saw on Saturday. So I won't go in too much at this point, Matt. I'll wait till later on.
Okay, I'm trying to take the moral high ground there. Right, okay, so let's get into it. So Phil, 4-4-2 is the whole thing. So if anybody would have heard me over Cozzy sort of is singing, they would have noticed that it was the bit with the press conference from Mike Bassett where he says England will be playing 4-4-2. Huddersfield Town were playing 4-4-2. And Phil, one thing that reminded me of is during the 2003-4 season, Town were really struggling to get things to gel and to work. And then Jacko all of a sudden went to 3-5-2, didn't he, from a back four. And it just clicked, didn't it? And sometimes these changes, whether they're forced upon you or planned, can, and I don't want to go overboard because, as Killer rightly says, Plymouth weren't very good on the day, the bottom of the league and really struggling. But little things like that, whether they're forced or whether they're planned, can just reignite a season and completely change the trajectory that you were on, can't they?
Yeah, maybe. I think a lot of people buy into formations, I think, a little bit too much. And generally, when you're on the pitch, it's you've got to work things out for yourself. But it did seem to suit us a little bit, and I think it's because of the way we played. There was a lot of channel balls. There was a lot of getting the ball forward quicker. And Dion he thrives off of that. He looked like a different kid yesterday. And then obviously you've got Radulovic who's found a little bit of form and a bit of confidence. So I think sometimes you've got to buy into that, and it seemed to work really well, didn't it? And I'm pleased. And we didn't play with 2 out-and-out wingers. So it was interesting to see how they'd obviously planned to play in that way. But yeah, it worked. And you ask a lot of people, what formation you want to play. Everyone wants to see two up front, don't they? We've gone through this craze of putting one player up front and playing off that player all across kind of like the Premier League and low leagues. But I think I think sometimes it suits a team where you've got that little bit more pressure from the front too, and people being able to run channels. And I think we did that really well Saturday.
Definitely, I think the channel running is definitely a feature which has changed things around, because Town was struggling basically to play into the final third, and now they've got that option to run the channels. It's completely changed. That's basically what's changed things.
Yeah, it's a free ball. Some of these players who are low on confidence, just that little hook around the corner into space, and trusting that your strikers are going to run that down. It takes a lot of pressure out of a lot of people, and
just winning throw-ins and things like that just helps, doesn't it?
You did it really well.
It's good. And Cozzy, those that listen to our extra time show in midweek after Mansfield will have heard Killer and I waxing lyrical about Marcus Harness as a central midfielder, as a number 8. Again, it feels maybe by enforcement really than plan, but potentially we've hit on something really good here, where Marcus Harness's use of the ball is excellent from deep, isn't it? And the passes that he picks, the reverse angles that he finds. And as we said in midweek, he was trying to do this higher up the pitch, playing in that sort of inside number 10 role from the right-hand side. But now they've dropped him deeper, and the football he's playing is just so much better, isn't it? And he looks a far better player, being able to pick those passes, and you can kind of see his intelligence on the ball shining through a bit more. Again, it's 2 games against Mansfield Reserves and Plymouth, who are currently the worst side in the division, but green shoots of recovery, and Marcus Harness is one of those shoots, I think.
Yeah, there's a player there, isn't there? I think, like a lot of our players, we've just not really kind of cracked it with him this season and that as well. So yesterday, essentially was we're doing a good job on that as well. I think the key for everything yesterday was everything was done a lot quicker. And the other thing I've been thinking today is, like, you probably even some of your greatest managers have fallen on something rather than pre-planned something. And do you think, I suppose, putting the question back at you, do you think it matters that obviously the kind of team picked itself, but two up front kind of, do you think the fact that it's kind of happened by default, is that an issue for you rather than, or not? Not really.
No, it's. I know Kevin Nagel mentioned adaptability of Lee Grant, and we hadn't really seen that. We kind of questioned it, but he's potentially had to go 4-4-2 because of the midfield. The midfield couldn't pass its way out into the final third, and when you can't do that, then you need the outball. And something we've been on about for weeks, me and Killer, is that Town don't have an outball. And all of a sudden, they've got 2. They've got Bojan, if you want to go direct into him, and they've got the channel ball, which Dion Charles can run. And Taylor can kind of do that a little bit sometimes. When Alfie May comes back in, he can drop short and he can do the channel ball as well. So for me, I think he's probably got there a little bit late, but he's got there, and let's hope he stays there, which is the key. And how he gets there, it doesn't really matter, providing that Town win games.
It's interesting. Go on, Phil.
Saturday with Northern football.
It was, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just want to say here, though, right? One thing does matter. It does matter how we've got there.
Is that how you predicted the result?
Well, yeah, that. But it's also, is he going to stick with it? Because I don't think you can underestimate quite easily the fact that we've had quite a fixed starting lineup for a couple of games here, and our Lee Grant at times has changed people in and out of the team. Whereas I think you've seen Dion Charles being given the starts, and he knows he's going to start, and there's other individuals throughout the team like Harness. I think a few weeks ago, Matt, even if we're not winning, that wouldn't have been thrown in there because he'd have chopped and changed it a little bit. And of course, we had the goalkeeper swap, which actually wanted to get Phil's opinion on that. But
Yeah,
other than that, everything else, Matt, was pretty one-dimensional. There wasn't much else he could do. That's fine. It doesn't really matter as long as he's learned that and he sticks with it. I'm still not sure just yet whether he will, because every moment up until kind of this small period, we have chopped and changed. What we've got now seems to be working, again, against very poor oppositions in the last two games. But are we going to stick with it, or are we going to try and change it if it ain't working, or next time out? I think that's really important before we can claim that it doesn't actually matter how we've got there. It does, as long as we don't change it too much. But as of yet, I'm not entirely sure. But Phil, yeah, on the goalkeeping change, probably jumping Matt's agenda here a little bit.
No, go for it.
Where do you stand on it? Because I mentioned to Matt in the drive-in that I thought it would be a time to chuck Goodman in. And then Lee Grant after the game spoke about it wasn't on performance, but he was looking for a spark. And that's kind of the way I looked at it, in that it's not working. The defence isn't looking very good at the moment. I thought Lee Nichols did a great job in his own abilities. I don't think he made any mistakes. But for whatever reason, maybe distribution's a part of it. But we didn't look very solid at the back. And now, obviously, Balker's come in, and that's very, very different. But where do you stand on that, Phil? I just thought, I kind of do believe Lee Grant in that he was looking for a spark rather than anything other than that, in that it's not Crystal Palace pressure trying to chuck in, in Goodman or whatnot. But where do you stand on it, Phil?
I think Nichols will be gutted. I think, I don't think he's probably done anything too wrong to kind of want, that to happen. But unfortunately, we've got a couple of good goalkeepers here, haven't we? For this level. So I think he's probably right in just wanting to change things up. The goalkeeper position is a funny one because goalkeepers tend to be, it's that set position. You've got your goalkeeper, but why are we okay to kind of drop Alfie May some games and maybe put Taylor in, or no one really bats an eyelid? Do you know what I mean? So the goalkeeper one is always a strange one for me, really, because there are second choice goalkeepers that have different attributes, and he's obviously, the young lad's got decent feet. He's comfortable, with the ball at his feet. Obviously that game against Barnsley where he made a few mistakes, didn't help him, but he's back in now, and it's his chance now. The thing is now it's his chance to show what he's made of, and if he, I'm gutted for him really, because it were nailed on a clean sheet, so you could see he was fuming, but it's his chance now to try and nail it back down again.
I think so. I was really disappointed for Lee Nichols, because I think he's done nothing wrong, and he's probably been, with Josh Feeney, probably the best Town player of the last month or two. But Lee Grant kind of, you could tell he kind of found it difficult. He did a post-match interview on Radio Leeds and talked about it, and he said if he could pick a goalkeeper when he needs a right footer, he would pick Nichols and left footer, and you could tell he'd kind of agonised over it.
Yeah.
But I think basically the way I look at it is Goodman is better with his feet and Nichols is better with his hands, basically, and it just depends what you're looking for. And I think in this division, if we're expecting our defence to be on top, then sometimes a goalkeeper who's better at just pinging the ball and getting you forward quicker or getting you into a position quicker can be quite important. And I don't think Goodman made any difference whatsoever, I'll be honest, on Saturday, because Plymouth didn't really get towards our box that much. But what he did fine, and he was all right. So I think what good's come out of that is that when he got put back in, he didn't make a mistake like against Harrogate, where he knocked the ball to Dan Vost and something happened. So hopefully now he can just say, do you know what, I've done all right. It's solid 6 out of 10. Maybe I can build on this now. And when we go to Mansfield, he's hopefully in a better position to keep a clean sheet that day, because that's going to be a really tough game away at Mansfield against their full side. And that's going back to Killer's point about changing the system. I'm hoping that if we come unstuck against Mansfield but lose, say, 3-2 for argument's sake, that he doesn't throw the baby out with the bathwater and then revert to 4-2-3-1 in a panic, and then we can't pass out again because we don't have the midfielders. Although Harness could be a difference maker in there, I don't know.
Matt,
so I'm hoping he keeps that, Cosy, and then
you were touching on Balker there. I've got a season card now. Well, God, I could probably.
I've got Balker in the agenda for later on, Mr. Agenda Record, if you want to talk about it.
The one thing that I'd say, like sitting in the bottom of the North Stand, it was nice to have a chat to Boothie, by the way, in there, but obviously the sun's horrendous, but it's such a unique view there because you get to see everything kind of below sea level, to be honest with you, and that as well. And the one thing that you do see really well is, like, I know you can see it from obviously from above, but when the defenders get the ball, you can kind of get the eye level on the kind of what's there to be passed to. Fascinating, and I found it really interesting. Kind of when we were on a Bulk, is like they were knocking stuff long, and this is a guy, and he were like they were pushing the team forward and that as well. And I just thought that's something that we've just not seen. I think
we'll talk about Balker later on because he's on the agenda, Cosy. So we'll come to that point shortly.
But no, it was just interesting to see, like, just different.
He's not taking the hint,
kind
is
of
he? Still
way of doing, but like I said, to me, it's an issue. I was falling on it rather than coming in.
Why would you say it's an issue though? As long as he's got there, do you think? Why would you class it as an issue? Because just out of interest, not to be argumentative, by the way. I know the tone was a little bit argumentative, but just as
I think that's the hardest thing for the takeaway. You want obviously to see more evidence than one game, but in my head, I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, you had nowhere to manoeuvre, you were forced into this, and they were crap. So that's why we got what we did. But if we win at Luton and we win at Mansfield, then I'm jumping aboard the Grant bus. But it's like, to me, it was To be fair, his interview was pretty humble, to be honest with you. He didn't say, I changed this or that or the other. But it's going to be interesting under pressure. But let's be honest, though, it was just such a welcome win, wasn't it? I think we just needed it so bad. And the confidence is, like Killer was saying, just winning games. And I think even against 940 people or whatever on Tuesday night and on against the poor side, it's when his confidence is as shattered as it is, it's good, isn't it? But interesting.
Enjoy the wins. Enjoy the wins when they come around, cause it doesn't matter how they happen. Just enjoy the wins.
No, when I was walking in the ground, just before you move on, the Plymouth fans, they'd had a good drink. A lot of them were stopping over. And they says, "Mate, if you don't beat us by this is my Plymouth accent, from like 2 or 3 goals, says then Grant needs to go." Says we are absolute garbage. They were saying that stumbling down Leeds Road. So you kind of went in there just thinking, yeah, this is there. I know there's always someone worse off in life, worse than yourself, isn't there? But so I kind of went in there and I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, we've got to win this based on what they were saying. But what a support they had there. Bloody hell, man.
Cosy the Janner. Things I'd never hear on this podcast. They were brilliant, weren't they? Over 1,200, I think they'd sold. Yeah, brilliant. I think considering how bad they are, their away support's always been really good, Plymouth, especially the distances they travel as well. They've got a phenomenal away support, and I think sometimes it's easy for people when they look at like a Manchester club or even Leeds at those levels and go, "Oh, they took 3,000 fans." It's like, yeah, but there's 800,000 people living in that city. You know, it's not that impressive when you break down the numbers. But when you factor in the travel and the size of the area, etc. I know they get a lot of fans from Cornwall and Devon and what have you, but it's to travel that far when you're that poor is I thought it was brilliant. I thought they were fantastic fans. Yeah. And they didn't leave early, was it either? Because when they were 3-0 down, they didn't get up and walk out. They stayed till the end. And
I walked out. I looked at their coaches and my heart just sunk for them. Like, Jesus Christ! After watching that, you guys have got now another 6 hours on a coach and stop at a service station. That is just proper. You just wanted to shake them all by the hand, don't you? And just say,
sleep time, isn't it?
It is, because in an era where I think a lot of the fans are, I don't know, they're on a different zone.
Everyone sneers at everyone, don't they? And what have you? But no, I thought they were great.
Yeah, they were amazing, man.
Let's talk about the game then. Town, some of the incidents. Town's first 10 minutes were pretty good, I thought. Then we had a bit of a lull. And it kind of, I think Plymouth came back and Sorinola had that shot which Goodman turned away. But then we came back again, and we came back again really strongly in that first half. Feeney had a header saved, Harness with a complete thunderbusted just over wide, which would have broke the net, I think, if it had landed in it. Dennis Bojkamp had his header saved as well. And then these are the periods where you've got to make that pressure count, and sometimes Town don't do that. But they did this time, and it's a lovely goal. And again, it goes back to Harness playing deeper. His passing to Ben Wiles is really good. Just really sharp pass. It's something that maybe a Kasumu or a Ledson perhaps wouldn't play as sharply as that. Ben Wiles takes it really well and comes in field. And when we talk about the 4-4-2 system, Phil, it's similar to like the 4-4-2 what Steve Bruce had and then Simon Grayson had, whereby they play a right midfielder who comes in and like kind of floats behind into that 10 position. So like Dean Gore used to do it, didn't he, for Steve Bruce, and then Adam Clayton used to do it for Simon Grayson. So he comes inside, and then Sorensen goes on the outside like Steve Jenkins used to do. And Ben Wiles plays a great ball, and it's the pitfalls of a back three killer, really, is this, because the three shift over, don't they? And Bojan just sees it, and then he just draws off a couple of yards, doesn't he, towards the far post. And you've got to give Dion Charles a lot of credit here, because he scored in midweek, he's desperate to impress in the league. He could easily just fire a shot across goal there, and everyone goes, "Oh!" But he doesn't. He sees Bojan Radulovic, and he squares the ball, and it's a tap-in, and it's a really well-worked goal. And I know Plymouth fans will probably pick it apart from their perspective, but from our perspective, Killer, it's a really good move, and it starts in midfield, and it's finished by some clever movement by Bojan up front.
It's a brilliant move. The entire thing's brilliant. I've just been watching the Green and White Armies live podcast before starting this, and they were speaking about that first goal, in that they thought they didn't get out quick enough to stop Harness and Wiles, and then they blamed the defenders for that one. But for me, I thought it's pretty hard to defend against. We won the ball back, and I say Harness, I am such a big believer in you play your best ball players and you try and fit them in the team, especially when you can't create chances or you've struggled. You try to get the guys that can in no matter where, and Harness in centre midfield is doing that. Like you say, Matt, nice crisp ball into Wiles there. A couple of one touch, passed it straight in Charles. But what I really like about it, Matt, First off, Bojkamp actually does a little bit of work to stay onside, which is probably the first time I've ever seen him look across his line, delay his run to make sure he was onside. Then when he did score, though, he did also think he was offside because he spent a long time looking at the liner to make sure he wasn't going to be flagged off for it. But what I really enjoyed about it, Matt, is that Dion Charles, right? This is from Tuesday night. We spoke about prior to Tuesday night needing to put out, I know we had to put a decent team out because we're so low on numbers, but Dion Charles had to play Tuesday night. We had to get a goal in him. He could have had 5 Tuesday. He could have scored that many goals. I think if Joe Taylor's in that position because of his low confidence, he shoots and he won't score from that angle. And I think Dion Charles of 2 weeks ago at that angle would not have squared the ball. But because he's found a little bit of form, a little bit of belief, he's not trying to fight for every goal that he can get now. He's playing a little bit more as a team player, which is what happens when you're playing better, when you have a little bit more belief in yourself and the belief that you are going to get another chance, even if it doesn't work out this time. I thought it was a really, really nice move. Like you said, the game up until then was all right. Plymouth started and they had a couple of chances over Feeney's head. I think it was Owen Asine, their number 18. He got over Feeney a couple of times. But then Plymouth was so stupid, they just stopped doing it. They just stopped trying to play over Feeney's head. That was the only thing that kind of released the pressure for them. But for no reason whatsoever, after 20 minutes, Town took charge of that game. Town bossed the midfield. We absolutely controlled that midfield. You could pause the game at any point mentally. And in the middle of the field, there was Ledson, there was Harness, and there was no one else. There was like a massive vacant gap. Very rarely, as in not once this season, have Town won that midfield battle at home that I can remember from start to finish. But they picked up everything. And that goal came from an easy first ball from Harness because, again, Plymouth offered absolutely nothing when it came to closing down in that midfield. And they had a weird patch match just before that goal where we started having loads of chances and they were just giving away stupid fouls. They kept grabbing everybody. I think they got 3 yellow cards in the space of about 10 minutes from silly decisions like that. You could tell as soon as Town went 1-0 up, that game was over for Plymouth. They are in such a poor shape and making stupid decisions. There was no tempo. Town's tempo, alternatively, was fantastic. It was the best I think it's been all season. Quick throw-ins. Lee Grant also did something different in this game that I've not seen before. First off, he was stood up shouting at players. That's the first time I've seen it. Yeah. But Matt, you'll have seen it because you sat near me. He wanted us to switch play quickly. He was screaming at us to try and not look where the men were, but to turn and ping it. Harness, I think, missed a couple of them, but he were clapping him. Bojan Radulovic at one point put it 20 yards behind somebody out for a throw-in. So again, Lee Grant clapped, and now it didn't work out, and I don't like happy clapping. I don't get it, but what he was trying to do was emphasise that we need to play quicker. We need to get them turned. We need to hit it over the wing-backs' heads, which eventually is what worked, like you say, Matt. That narrow 3 of Plymouth will have nightmares for a long time about defending against us. And it's a bit amazing, isn't it, that it's Dion Charles and Bojan Radulovic, Matt. But that goal, like you say, it is good. It is great. But I think if we've got one striker up top, you don't score it because there's no one to square to. Our wingers, or not wingers, who've played in that 3 behind the 1, they wouldn't have been there for the tap-in that Radulovic got. But that's what playing 2 up front does for you. That's exactly why you go with it.
I think 2 up front against the back 3 is really good as well.
That red were odd, man. It was just like flat, giving cards out like it were like out of fashion. And the one I thought that were a borderline red, to be honest, on Ledson, were a horrendous tackle in front of the Kilner Bank. I thought he could have walked for that. In Spain, he would have walked for that. And then just another point as well. My mate's kind of been banging to me, says, this Town crowd, because I'm a bit critical of them, because they do get in the back, Phil. We've been on a few times where we've kind of kicked off with the crowd. But he said to me, just give them something and they'll get behind it. And when was it? At that header turned over,
Feeney.
The crowd were going wild. It were like we'd just like 3-0 up, and they were, and everyone were going all 3 sides. And I'm thinking, you know what? I think he's got a point here. We're just wanting someone to, it's a bit of excitement, a bit of something that's kind of been missing from so many of our games. Just a bit of, come on, we're on the mark.
But Cosy, that went all. Sorry to butt in, Cosy. That went all game. That went on all game. We were trying different things in little moments like that, and I think it's important to pick that up here. Wiles had 2 efforts that were terrible, but he shot from the edge of the box, and they were both awful. But then next time he were cutting in. And again, it's just putting that indecision on the Plymouth mind and that something different could happen. When Kamashi comes on later on, first time he gets the ball, he goes to the outside. And now, obviously, later on, he goes to the inside and it changes the dynamic of what he does after that. But throughout the entire game, like you say, because it just felt like there was some sort of emphasis on trying to create chances in different ways to make it a little bit unpredictable. And that's all I think we need as Town fans. That's like you're saying, Phil. That's Northern football. That's what I think we were expecting. We don't need 94 passes. I want to see my centre-back ping it 60 yards to a guy on the touchline perfectly, like he's fucking prime Paul Scholes. That's what I want to see. But that's what we did. That's what we did, though. It was just there was just so many little things that were different throughout the entire game. It was a little bit unpredictable. And for a team that has been so predictable for so many seasons, I think that's what got the atmosphere in the stadium a little bit better. Even like you said, 1-0 before, and we were getting the chances, but people weren't getting frustrated that they weren't going in. And that is a big difference for Town fans this year, especially.
Because you know what you said there, like in terms of like obviously, you know, with the fans and when Feeney edited it and he went over and all the fans started going crazy.
Yeah, 40 minutes of nothing really, Phil.
That's really simple, isn't it? Because like we've done something good, so we clap, so the fans are buzzing, so that's just a natural thing. What I really liked, because I think that's just basic, everyone should be doing that. Do you know what I mean? What I liked was in the second half, it went a little bit dead, and all of a sudden the fans started getting behind them. Yeah, and they started bringing an atmosphere. I don't know if you noticed it, but they started bringing a bit. And that's what I was more impressed with, because actually we weren't playing well and we were struggling, but the fans noticed that and they started getting behind the team, and it gave me a little bit of a lift. And I said to my little lad during the game, I said, like, look at that now. That's what I'm talking about. Not when not when it's good. It's dead easy to sing that when it's good. In those tough moments, in and around it, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I went to watch Liverpool against Crystal Palace the other week, and Liverpool were horrendous. But the fans, they conceded a goal, the third goal, and the fans just got behind them. They started singing Liverpool non-stop. And Liverpool were awful that game. But just something where you just get in behind them and you start getting behind your team. And I thought that was brilliant on Saturday with the fans. I thought they were great with that.
Yeah.
Really.
It's funny you say that second half, Phil. I won't really feel threatened by him, but I just thought that they're kind of, we were just kind of, I thought, retreating a bit. And I thought, I was getting sub, you know, come on, change the game, do something here, because luckily they were so crap that they didn't kind of take advantage. But like you said, it was what you said, kind of a null point. It was like nothing was really happening, but they had a bit more ball. I'm thinking if they were a bit better team, I think we'd be in trouble here. So, but then obviously, then the changes came. But a couple
of our players who normally started hiding even more and started like getting annoyed with themselves and stuff, and that had a massive effect, which really frustrates me. Because it was quite a strong bench start, and I thought we should have made a few changes a little bit quicker.
Let's talk about a few other things, Phil. Phil, what do you think of the partnership of Charles and Bojan then? Because Killer and I really liked it on paper. Obviously, paper and grass are completely different things. How do you think it works? Because I thought there were really good, really decent, sort of promising aspects of the way they played, and Bojan doing what he did was so important. I think he was quite quiet for different parts of the game, but he was still wrestling and making it awkward for the defence, and that just freed Charles up a little bit for those balls around the corner. And I think, like I said earlier, I think against a back three, a front two to play in between them just makes it incredibly awkward.
You could see it's the way that Charles likes to play, the way he gets his body in between him and the player. The player and the ball, like a late kind of dash into an area. You can see he thrives off it, and I like the little mix in the tall and the small. Bojan can still mix it, etc. But I feel like we did lack a little bit of ball into the box, and obviously you're playing the forward in midfield. You'd hope there's a few more balls coming into Bojan. That's still not happening at the moment. I think Miller played a few beautiful balls in behind defence. But not with any height. But I like it. I really like it, and I think. But I think we've got some really good strikers at the club. I don't think it's so much about them. It's about the service into them and how we are trying to play as a team. I think that's just kind of proved it on Saturday that Charles has obviously struggled for goals and confidence. But if we play to their strengths and we give them we just gave him service all game. Whether it was good, whether it was bad, but he fought for everything. That was the difference. And I think, like you say, I'm still undecided whether I like one or two up front. But I think when you've got two up front, you've got more opportunities to try and get the ball forward quicker, and they've got more opportunities to make mistakes, but also do some really good things. So I liked it. Just thinking now in terms of the players that will come back in. I mean, Taylor must have been spewing, only getting 5 minutes in the game.
Yeah, he didn't look happy. Although, to be fair, when he came on, he did work quite hard, didn't he? In that short period, he didn't look like he sulked, which is a rarity. But yeah, I when he came on at it were almost like it was like 88, wasn't it? When he came on, I thought he's not going to be happy with this, but he put it in, didn't he? Which was.
But I think that tall striker just takes away a little bit from the small one. It's. People are more wary, aren't they? Whether these balls out wide, and you drop a bit deeper to pick him up. So it does create a bit of space. So, but yeah, it was impressive to watch really Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll move on to the second half. I'm not sure where Cozzy's gone. Usually Town play well one half and then really poorly in the other. So when the second half came round and Town are only 1-0 up, you kind of sat there a little bit trepidatious thinking, have we played well in one half? Although not for all of it. But Town came out relatively quite well. And like you say, Phil, there was that sort of 10, 15 minutes where Plymouth kind of got on top a little bit without creating anything, but they'd pushed us back. And that's where the crowd were phenomenally good, weren't they? And the Cowshed Loyal were really good. They led it as well. And then it bounced through to the Kilner, and then there was some noise in the sleepy seats where I sit.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And they kind of swept Town forward, and it worked really well. And it shows the power of the crowd as well, because I think sometimes fans don't realise that if you get on top, you get on them and you boo them during the game, it does negatively affect them. Sometimes it can give them a kick up the ass, but most of the time it negatively affects them. But when you get behind them like that, it can work really well.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was really, really good. But during that period, we come out of that, and then Town score again, and it's a set piece. And again, set pieces haven't always been our friend this year either. And Town tend to take out outswinging set pieces, which goes against what a lot of teams do with the in-swinger to the near post, don't they? But the ball came in and Bojan flicks it on, and Ben Wiles kind of has a stab at it, but I don't know if it goes down as an assist for Bojan. Killer, it might be a bit kind if it does. And then Dion Charles is in the right place at the right time. And what I loved about this is that Dion Charles puts the ball in the net, and then he goes and finds that one shithouse on the podcast who's been giving him crack for 10 months to shush him. Finds Cozzy in the lower tier and goes, "Shut it, Cozzy."
He still missed me then. I didn't have any problems with that, Matt. A lot of people did, but the guy's getting loads of abuse, and let's be honest, I've not been his biggest fan. I didn't have a problem with that, but some people did. But yeah, it's...
I don't understand why anyone should have a problem with it. Do you know, like, we're all humans. And this is what I don't get about fans. Like, the fans are there, and I'll do the same. We slate players. We have a go at them. We'll boo them. We'll talk about this. Social media is a nightmare. So people speak their mind. They speak their mind about all sorts of stuff. And football's definitely going to be on there. What's wrong with a player turning around and saying back? Do you know what I mean? Just because, well, we pay your wages. Well, so what? You're human. If someone's going to say something,
TV pays the wages.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I'm doing it, Phil. You don't. What we're doing, it might not have been. The one thing I like to, the thing that I don't think we've seen from many of our strikers for a long time is just a nuisance. When back in the day, boo they what have you. But an old Charles was a nuisance. He was a pain, and you're like,
field, not on the field.
Yeah, no, it would. I just thinking I always think you get a good view of that eye level down where I sit now. It's like just because a defender, it's like someone like Joe Taylor, you'd be quite happy to mark him because he doesn't give you enough, and even May at times. But like Dion Charles yesterday, I thought, God, he's a pain because he does go down very easy looking for stuff. He's one of those. He's like one of those Spanish strikers, like just to throw himself on the floor. But basically, you've got your hands full when he's in that kind of mood. And he was clever. It's a lot more. It's incredible. I sent to another podcast with Dave and Steve. I says, "Has Dion Charles' race been run up Huddersfield Town?" And they said, "Yeah." And it's unbelievable, isn't it? What things have turned out.
There's always a way back in the cause. If you work hard, there's always a way back. And it was where I think a lot of fans have had issues with him, haven't they? With him going in the away end at Bolton. I didn't really have a big deal with that. He went in the away end at Bolton, took his kids there. I think why people were annoyed is because Town were playing at the same time. I think that's what they know. But even were they playing at the same time? I can't remember. But it's like he probably lives there still. And
I think it was an early kickoff. I think we had an early kickoff, or they did. So it was the same
day.
But it wasn't.
I think it's because we lost and got back to base.
But the thing is, for me, that it's like that goal. Hopefully it's a turning point, sliding up. But that goal on Tuesday, Mansfield, their defender it was an assist from the defender, wasn't it? He was just there and he turned it in. But you're just thinking, is that the bit of luck that he finally needs? Because we saw that penalty miss in the cup, and then you're just thinking, God, it's just never destined to be. But maybe it isn't. Honestly, the fans were singing his name. I know you would have chant that when Dick Potter is
that was Bojan. That was for Bojan Radulovic. Was that?
Oh, sorry, we're Bojan. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's had more reinventions than Chris Jericho. Has that chant?
I think though, boys, we do have to mention, right? You can't say it's a charity goal against Mansfield and this one's not a charity goal. You can't. Dion Charles was good and he deserved a goal for his performance for the game. But what happens in this goal is embarrassing from a Plymouth perspective.
He's missed them before.
Yeah, he has. To be fair, Phil, he has. But come on, Radulevic's won a header at front post from the corner.
To be honest.
Do you know like Town are trying to monetize everything now, right? And try and make profit. It's the American way. We understand it. That's how you can drive new revenue.
By the way, buy our Patreon. www.
Yeah. No. We'll shrill later on, Matt. Right, what they need to do is sell Bojan Radulovic diet because the man's a beast compared to what he were last year. He's run front post and won a flick on. The Bojan Radulovic of last year, he wouldn't get near it, would it? He would not. Any 50-50, I'm not favouring him. 80-20 in his favour, I'm not favouring him. Like, I wouldn't even get like 5% maybe, but this time, I tell you what, he looks handy. And there was one point in the first half, this is how bad Plymouth were at the back. Was it Schultz playing right centre-back?
Sucks.
There was an up and under. Sucks. All right, we'll go with that. There was an up and under from. Yeah, there was an up and under from Sorensen.
2 was Ross, wasn't it? 2 was Ross.
Ross, yeah, he plays centre back. He plays centre back. But no, there was an up and under from Sorensen, and Radulovic was 15 yards behind the defender, and he set off and got there first. And I've never seen that happen ever before either. That was the opposition that we were against. But Radulovic wins a header at the front post from the corner, and then I think it's was it Joe Hatch? He'd only just come on. He's only 19-year-old and he has gone through his legs. He should have cleared that ball, no problem. And it's gone straight through his legs, 3 yards out from goal. And Charles has put it in. And it's fine. Look, it's great. All goals count. But I think it had been remiss if we wouldn't have mentioned that if Tuesday was a gift for Charles, today was a gift. But again, when you have 2 up front, that's a little bit different. That's it. But again, I think that's confidence. And I think that's another reason why he has to start every game now. And if Alfie May's available next time round, I don't know if he is. Is his suspension finished now? Has he got one more to go?
Has he got another 2? Oh, no, he's got another one.
Another one to go. I won't put him straight back in because I think, when your strikers are scoring, you leave your hot hands there. And that's why I kind of thought Ashley might have got the start this week. But anyway, it's another argument altogether.
We thought he might have.
This is why you got to keep... Right, so. Yeah, this is why you got to keep playing him. This is why you got to keep playing him because when you are on form and you are scoring goals, the defender does make mistakes like that and you do pop it away and then you can inflate your goals for the season on ones like that. But no, it was the least he deserved. It was, again, for the second game in the row, the best striker we've got, best attacking player we had on the field.
Got 2 assists as well, Kill. He's ended the game with 1 goal, 2 assists.
I know
he's given the ball to Ashier it's a nice little ball. Let's talk about Cam Ashier, Phil, as well. Because he comes on dressed like a Halloween Keith Lemon, doesn't he, with his wristband on, and he just does things that no one else does. He'll shoot from anywhere. It's like a young Danny Ward. Danny Ward used to shoot back facing goal from 50 yards away, and Ashier's the same. He'll come on and he'll shoot from the corner flag. He makes things happen. He's just such a nightmare to sort of play against because he's quick and he runs like he's swimming, with his elbows out and everything. He's such an awkward player, and I can see that he will annoy Town fans, I think, at time because he doesn't always make the right decision. But he's so positive, and we were talking about players that when I was sat in the stand with my mate Tom, we were talking about players that affect games, and I'm kind of talking about Ben Wiles and how he doesn't always affect games. He does sometimes, and he makes positive contributions. But when Cam Ashier comes on, he affects games. Do you know what I mean? He pushes you up the pitch. He annoys defenders. He shoots, and he's just a bloody menace, whether he's doing the right thing or wrong thing. And he's a player you can't leave out of the 18 anymore, is he? He's got to either be on the left if Miller's not right or on the bench to come on for a cameo because he's knocked at the door all season and he's ended up scoring. The way he strikes that ball, it's like Josh Koroma turbo, isn't it? The way he just does that same trick that Koroma did. But he's hit that against a couple of times now, and he's got that in his locker, and he makes things happen. Phil is where I'm going with that one.
I'll have to disagree with you about the Ben Wiles shout, but
Killer will argue with you. I won't bother. I'll step out.
Wow. Ashier, he's got no demons, has he? That's the thing. He's a young kid. Yeah. He's fresh, so he's got no haunting him really from the past where he's done things wrong. He just wants to play. You can see the way he celebrated. I love the way he celebrated. Really cocky, because you want that from your wingers. Do you know what I mean? You want that flair. You want them to get at people. I mean, it wasn't hard this weekend. I mean, the fullback and the lad, right hand side, whatever they were playing, because I had no idea what they were playing. They were all over the place. And the right side of the defender, you could get past them really easily. And it was a perfect time for him to come on, really, just to get at them and get them back up their end of the field, where it was just we were having a little bit of a lull in that midfield area where we were kind of leaving as man and not really playing through the thirds. I like him. He's a talent. I agree with you. He has to be in every matchday squad for me, 100%. And I hope we don't kind of spoil him and go down as usual, getting at someone if things don't quite go right. Because
why aren't he been though? Why aren't he been? He burst onto the scene against Reading with that unbelievable. Yeah, why is he not been? We've been crap. Why is he not been?
But I think you probably have to read between lines, and you might have to understand that maybe is he doing the right things in training? Does he have the right mentality?
He came on once or twice and he didn't do much, and I think he kind of had that start, didn't he? And then he came on against Stevenage and someone else, I think.
Well,
Exeter, I think, and he dipped, and I think. But you're going to get that with young players, aren't you, Phil? He's going to come on and he's going to be lightning in a bottle one game, and then next time he's going to be an empty bottle.
I don't think him being omitted from the squad is anything to do with his ability. I think there's probably some other things there where he's just not quite at the races. And like I say, he's a young kid, so I'd like him to kind of be like he is and having that kind of positive attitude. I want that for my wingers.
Matt, you're right what you said there, because just before, or was it after? I can't remember. There was a total tap in for Dion Charles if he just squared.
Oh, I should have.
And he didn't.
No, but he's going to learn that, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? And the more and more squads and someone like Danny Schofield, he'd have found that pass straight away, he'd have slid him in, and there's a goal. Do you know what I mean? So, but he was a little bit clever in the way he plays football. So, hopefully he's going to come on, but we have to persevere with him. I'm not sure about him starting. I think he's a great player to bring on and to terrorise defenders.
Is there in the right for the right situation, isn't he?
100%.
I think.
Yeah.
I think, especially if there's space for him to get into, because he came on against Blackpool as well, and there were no space for him to move into, and he just ended up getting the ball and knocking it backwards all the time. Well, I think that the situation has to be right for him, and it was perfect, like you said, Phil. It was just the perfect moment for him, and he's taken. He's taken his chance.
What you've probably got to remember as well, they probably want him to be, a little bit more kind of savvy, going backwards towards his own goal as well. And he's probably still got a lot to learn in that, modern day wingers. He's probably still got a lot to learn with that as well. So hopefully, there's a lot of support for him at the club to help him with that. And I only see him getting better and better. That kid.
Yeah, he's good. He's exciting.
Yeah.
One player I want to talk about is Ryan Ledson, because we've been pretty disappointed with him on this podcast, but on Saturday, I thought he was very good. And do you know what I loved? There was a moment where Plymouth had the ball on the edge of their own box, and Ryan Ledson went flying in and smashed someone. I've been waiting all season for him. I've been waiting all season for that Ryan Ledson to turn up, and he twatted someone on the edge of the box. He went flying in. He saw Tommy Elphick in his mirrors, and he just went flying in and splattered him.
Similar area, wasn't it, really? Yeah.
Brilliant. I was like, yes! That is the Ryan Ledson I thought we were getting, the one I wanted to see, and it was brilliant. And after that moment, he was superb all game. His use of the ball was just, it's really good. When you're in those little corners and you've got to play out of those corners, he's just really calm, and he really helps. Just if the fullback's got the ball and someone's coming to pick him up, Ryan Ledson just drops in, you pass him the ball, and he doesn't panic. He'll knock it back, and then you can play out. And he does the easy pass to get you in the right way. And he was just very, very good. And I've probably been a bit harsh on him at points throughout this season because we've been frustrated with how things have been going. Phil says no, so I'm trying to be diplomatic. But it was great. And I think the one thing that we can do on this podcast is when someone's crap, we can say the crap. And when someone's good, we'll say we're good. We don't have agendas. And Ryan Ledson, I was really pleased with him, Killer, because that's the Ryan Ledson I've wanted to see since the summer. And he arrived, and I thought it was great. And especially the partnership with Harness as well. I thought they both look great together.
Absolutely, Matt. With Ledson, you and I talk about this quite a bit. When people talk about midfielders going missing, Ledson's been the number one for me this year when it's about going missing. But just like we mentioned about strikers, in that we've brought in so many good strikers at this club and become a graveyard for them up until now, in that it just doesn't work. No matter where they've been, no matter how many goals they've scored, we just can't get them chances. I feel like that's a similar thing with our midfield up until this weekend. And I think, Matt, having Bolka at centre back makes a massive difference. I felt our defence were 10 yards, 15 yards higher than they have been all season. There was points at 1-0 where we had Fine and Bolka in the Plymouth half to defend and not worried about the long ball over the top because they thought they had the pace against a good striker. Until he was a handful in the little moments he got near the ball, but we were so much higher, and it just compacted the midfield for Ledson then to go about doing. He could whack people, Matt, because he were close enough to whack them. Because we were just a little bit more compact. We had players in the back.
There, killer.
Up until recently, we've played side to side. But up until recently, you're watching Town, and we play side to side. We play left. Everyone goes over to the left. Everyone goes over to the right. Then everyone kind of goes back to the left. Whereas this game was more back to front. We kind of played it down the middle. We did go wide at times, but it wasn't everybody shifting over. It was cleverer, and I just thought Ledson really benefited from that, Matt. And like you say, I think he's been, for me, the biggest letdown. Barshaw and Rowan. I expected Rowan to be much better, having considered he played every minute of every game last year for Lincoln. I expected a lot from him, and he's not quite hitting it just yet. But with Ledson, again, people do always, I hate it, Matt, we speak about this a lot, where, he's dropped down from the Championship because he's not good enough, but he'll absolutely romp League One. That doesn't happen. I don't think the gap's that much, really. I think that's well overstated. Ledson, I expected more from. And this was the first week where there was Hogg-esque moments where he just went in and nailed somebody. Just little flashes of it. I'm not going the full way just yet. I'm being very reserved on that. But in midfield, where we only had two lads centre midfield, it's not the 3 versus 2 argument I think that people throw out quite a lot, that we get outnumbered, and that might be why it's going on. I don't think it is. I just really feel like our defence have been a little bit more mobility, because I do think Joe Lowe makes us a lot worse in defence, but that's an entirely different discussion. We just were a bit higher, and I really think that helped both Harness and Ledson. But Ledson, that's the captain that you want in a team, and we just need to see it more often, not just every now and again when things are going well.
What worries me with Ledson is that, like, it's more positionally, so maybe that probably helped to the other day, because there was only 2 in there, that they had to go and pick a man up and go and press, because I see him shielding the back 4 way too much.
Yeah, he does. You're right, Phil. He don't like picking up a man, does he? He sits there free.
And I don't know if it's a tactical thing that Grant wants him to do, but it's always easy for the midfield to receive, turn out and play against us. It's too easy. And then when you've got Wiles in there as well at the same time, wow, it becomes just an absolute nightmare. My only concern with Harness is he's not an out-and-out central midfielder. So it's a difficult position to play if you haven't played there. And I do think if we come up against a better midfield, I don't think he's the best tackler of the ball. So in terms of positionally, I do worry about that. But obviously that's for another game. But no, it was so much better, Ledson, this game. And like I say, that kind of aggression, when we go back to, Gene the fans up, I love that tackle at edge of box. That was brilliant.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
That's
exactly what we want.
You know
Northern football, Phil. That is it. Northern football is kicking the shit out of your opposition. That's what you want.
Quicker for that than a goal. In fact, when we scored, I never even got out of my seat and celebrated. But when he went and smashed that geezer, I'm up, arms up, everything, because it's brilliant, because it just sets that tempo for the rest of your team, and then they'll all get about people. Do you know, one person, if you know your captain's on it and he's going for it. Worthy used to do it brilliantly. Worthy go in and he'd just go and tap someone, bang, straight away, and then we'd all go. Do you know what I mean? Everyone would start pressing and that's what you want. And we're not all brilliant at tackling, and everyone can't, but as long as you've got that intent, and when your captain's setting you off like that, I thought it was a much better game for him.
And you get that, Phil. Sorry, Phil. You get that when your fans, like you say, the fans lifted, and that's what happens. The fans lift, then somebody nails somebody, and then it lifts the players. That's how you have to be.
We're not talking about like going around and just like siphoning people down and going, do you know what I mean? It was just really. It was a controlled tackle. It timed it perfectly. I mean, if that were me, I'd have wiped someone out. It'd have been a horrendous tackle, because I cannot tackle anyway if I go and play outfield. But him and Harness were both able to drop in and receive the ball, and I think it took a little bit of pressure off Ledson there. And I think he was a bit more free, and like I say, he probably played more forward balls than he has done all season.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Town conceded, and Phil, like you said, Owen Goodman will be annoyed, because I think Town deserved a clean sheet. I mean, Balka had to go off, didn't he, after 60 minutes? And Sean Rowan came on, and that kind of changed the dynamic a little bit, because they went a little bit more direct. And Rowan, you can kind of see he's not quite a centre back in a back four. It's very different playing centre back in a 4 to a 3, isn't it? Like he has done. But it was okay. It wasn't bad by any stretch. It's just he struggled a bit more aerially than what Balka did. And I know Balka's aerial record wasn't phenomenal in the game, but he knows how to lean in and do those other things that defenders do. And Rowan is probably still learning that. But the goal itself was just, we thought, you watch it back on the highlights, and Town, they make a mistake, don't they? And Town fans are going, "Way!" and then they put the ball back in and they score. It's just like
it was a bit of luck the way it came in, wasn't it? You know, it landed quite nicely for
it's a good header. It's a good reaction header, to be fair to Lie, and you can see why he scored so many goals, because he's on it, and he really sharply. We don't need to delay on that, but it just took a little shine off the game. I thought we deserved to win the game 3-0, in all honesty.
But do you know what?
But
we still won. Traveling from Plymouth, it's nice for them to get a goal and to see a goal in it. So
yeah, they were good. They were a good set. And Kozu was well enamoured with them in Town, weren't you, with the Plymouth fans? And we've been there already anyway. But
I love the accent. Kozu, that accent was class. It was really good.
Kozu. Green army.
Cool down there. I'll never forget going to Plymouth. You went obviously there season before, Matt, but like,
did.
Like everywhere you go, there's just burger vans. They have like Ginster vans there. It was cool as all. It's like as many different kinds of style of pastas as you want, but and it was quite weird really, because like Schalke, my German team, they got the Plymouth manager who kind of
Muslich,
Muslich, he's doing a brilliant job, and. You know what? I thought, do I do this in a bar or what have you, and that as well? But Schalke were playing yesterday, didn't I? Some of them, this music is all right, man. I thought, could be picking my teeth up off Flory and that, because it was a bit of an acrimonious departure. But it's such a big, they're a massive club down there, man. Obviously, you've been there and stuff. I think because they're such in a kind of geographical wilderness and stuff, I think everyone doesn't realise, but they're mad for it.
It's a pretty big club. Yeah, it's a pretty. Do you know what's really funny down there? Everybody seems to hate Exeter City for some reason. Everyone hates Exeter. Plymouth fans hate them. Torquay fans hate them. Someone else hates them. I don't know what Exeter have done wrong to annoy people, because I always think they're all right as well. They all seem to hate Exeter City down there. Don't know why. Poor Exeter. It's a nice place, Exeter. But so is Plymouth. We went down there because when it was the Warnock. I think I went down for 3 days, and we went to Lou and a few other little bits of Cornwall and stuff, and it's a perfect away day if you get Plymouth in August. It's great, and I'd recommend it just to go.
You know what, Matt? When they were singing about Clever sacked in the morning and all this lot and stuff, part of me did wonder Warnock, but I mean, some days it's like, is that it for him now? But you just tell you what though, it'd be an handy guy to have in now, because even as bad as they are, they could still get in playoffs. I mean, you look at that, you think it's hopeless, the bottom of the league, but it's such a weird division, isn't it? There's obviously.
I think Plymouth's I think Plymouth are the only ones that Warnock would maybe do something with, because I don't think he could manage them anymore. I think he's probably a bit beyond that, maybe. But I think as an advisor or something, I think he'd be quite. Is he advising someone else? Is he not advising Torquay at the minute, or is that?
Yeah,
he was doing something, wasn't he, at some point? But maybe he could go and help them out, or he wanted to pick our next manager, didn't he? But maybe he could help them with that.
No, I think it's typical that, Matt. I'm not saying we're on a roll, 2 wins against.
Steady.
No match this Saturday. It's bloody typical, isn't it? It's like just when you need another game to kind of keep it going, we aren't playing.
Yeah, you say that, but we could get some players back, can't we? As well. But I don't know. It could work both ways. Town are always crap when they come back from the international break as well, aren't we? We're always rubbish. Anyway, tell you what's not always rubbish, and that's the Andy Takes That Chance squad. The red button on the voicemail is absolutely flashing like mad. So let's play in what the squadlings have had to say.
Hello. There is no one here to take your call, so for your convenience, we have answered it automatically. Now don't hang up. When you hear the tone, leave your name and a brief message, and we will contact you upon our return.
What's up, guys? It's Marcus doing the Plymouth review. A good feeling about today's game. They've stuck to the task really well. They've worked really hard in doing so as well. And they've scored some nice goals. I mean, like the first 2 are a bit scrappy, should we say, particularly the second. But then Cameron Ashia scores a really, really lovely finish, showing that he's a real asset to have, particularly off the bench. I mean, being nitpicky, we concede a really sloppy goal. That consolation goal is really, really sloppy. But I think Lee Grant will look at this as a positive, and the players look more comfortable in the formation. And we've just got to take this on to the next games now and keep moving forward and get behind the team. One game don't fix everything, but let's keep going and moving forward up the town.
John McNamara, Northern Ireland's most handsome man, 2003, 2007, 2009, 2017, 2018, and most recently 2023. Just when I was out, they pulled me back in. That's me butchering a quote. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to watch Town. But then, my son was a little bit sick on Tuesday night. He had a bit of vomiting and diarrhea. I had to sit up with him. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch a bit of the Town match. It was quite good. Kind of dragged me back in. And then today I was out and I got back about 2:30. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to flip the old Fire Stick back on and I'm going to watch Huddersfield Town. And we were very good. I still think there was little bits that I wasn't overly proud of, overly happy with. I wasn't overly happy with the way that we set up the first 15, 20 minutes of the second half when it looked like Grant changed us to a 4-3-3 and got us to play a little bit more withdrawn. I think the second goal came more by luck than design, but still that set us on our way, and then we got the third, and obviously a little bit disappointed to concede Plymouth's goal. Bloody hell, tripping over my words here. Unbelievable. But yeah, you can't really complain at a 3-1 win, can you? Obviously, there's tougher tests ahead. Plymouth are an absolutely shocking team. But listen, we support Huddersfield Town, and it's a dreadful phase supporting Huddersfield Town these past 10 years or so, or past 8 years or so. So we've got to celebrate when we can. Doesn't stop me from believing that Kevin Nagel like bagel, doesn't stop me from believing that Kevin Nagel has to go and he's a dreadful chairman, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, up the Town, Nagel out. Nagel.
Hey there, it's Jerry Hennon checking in after Town 3, Plymouth 1, and it's good to see that Lee Grant has finally listened to all the fans who for months have been calling for a Bojan Radulovic, Dion Charles partnership up top. We all knew what those two strikers could bring if they got the chance to play together, and so it's good to see that actually play out on the field. Not really, obviously, but it's great to see Bojan and Charles, get their goals and, kind of have their moments, which I think both of them have been sort of looking for a while. Obviously Bojan scored a couple of times, but not in this sort of situation in a league game where it really mattered. The game was within reach, to put them up was a really great moment for him. Really happy. You don't want to make too much, I think, of this win. Town's last home win obviously was also really should have been a 3-1 win over a team in the relegation zone, and beating Posh didn't do a lot for Town's prospects over the next few games. But at the same time, it's a league win, dispels some of the dark clouds. Town had 10 players out from like what I think we would expect to be in their first 18. So, you don't want to minimize it either. Really what you just want is a platform to build on to go forward. And hopefully that's what this is. Up the Town.
Evening all, Epi here, first time on the pod. Buzzing with that result yesterday. Massively deserved, one of the better home performances of the season, certainly in recent weeks and months. Massively needed. Grant's got the team absolutely spot on, along with the shape. Loved watching Bolka yesterday. That is the exact Rodinho Bolka that we know is capable of that performance. But we just haven't seen often enough. I hope he gets more game time and watching more performances like that. Enjoyed watching Wiles and Ledson in the middle together. And obviously Dion and Bojan up front together. Both of them deserve their goals massively. Loved Bojan's performance. First half, he took a brilliant ball down on a long diagonal ball. He beats the defender for strength, brings it down, wins a free kick. That's what we've always needed to see from him that he just hasn't produced. So it was seeing that. And same for Dion, deserved his goal and his assist. It was a nuisance all game, and he is playing with that little bit more confidence now. And it just shows what getting a goal can do. I don't care who it's against, how shit the opponent is. goals breed more confidence. So long may it continue. This has got to be the turning point now. I know there's going to be fans that are still pessimistic, saying, "Oh, well, one game's not going to change it all." But for me, if we are continuing with that shape and that energy going forward that we've lacked so much so recently, 20 shots, 9 on target this week, then we've got to be back up there. And I'll always be optimistic. The only negative for me, 95th minute penalty from Chesterfield missed for 800 quid. Next time we play them, I hope we beat them 28-0.
Hi, Neil here. Having gone through what's happened over the past few months, I really would love to think that we've turned a corner. My problem is that I don't think we have. We've played a reserve side in Mansfield, and the worst team in the league has just turned up and done what they do, which is lose away. Yeah, it's nice to see us trying different things, trying different people. Bojan's done well. Charles has done great. I'm just not buying that this is the turnaround that everyone's suddenly thinking it is. Pessimistic, yes. Realistic, probably. I hope to be proven wrong.
Hi, Colin from Manchester here. Yeah, really good win today. Thought we were full value for the 3 points. I like the change of shape. It appears to be playing with 2 up top now, which I think just is best for the strikers that we've got at our disposal. I think it's telling that Radulovic is seems to have sort of found a way to sort of play at this level and in England now. I thought he was very good today, and Charles just looks like he's found some confidence and was brilliant. Look, it's hard to judge in some respects. This could be our kind of Crawley moment where we think that we found a shape, we've got a win, but in truth, Crawley were a dreadful team, went on to be relegated. I can't help but think that sort of Plymouth at this moment in time are a pretty dreadful team. So I don't think it's going to be kind of the true test of whether Grant's turned things around or not. But it's an encouraging kind of week that he's had. I think that the sort of tell now will be, can we follow it up in a couple of weeks' time away at Mansfield and build on it, really? Because I think we've got probably 4 of the best strikers we could have at this level. And I think they're better off being in it too. Just things felt a lot more balanced, and if a couple of players start coming back from injuries and we can start sort of creating as many chances as we have done today, then there's nothing to really kind of stop us playing our way back into the mix at the top end of the division, up the town.
Hi there everyone, Billy Town here. Decent performance today. Plymouth, I thought were okay in the first half, absolutely dog shit in the second half. Good defensive performance from Bojkamp and Feeney. Really good midfield performance from Harness and Ledson. I think Harness is bringing out the best in Ledson. That's really positive. Really good attacking performance as well. No idea how anyone sees that formation as a 4-4-2, but there we go. But the really positive for me is that's 2 games on the trot where we've been ahead, then conceded a goal and not absolutely shit the bed. So really pleased about that. Cheers all. See you in the next match.
What's up, guys? Aiden here. How nice is it to just talk about a 3-1 Town victory after all the rubbish that we've been subjected to over the last couple months? We finally get a nice, convincing, resounding win at home, getting contributions from players that we thought were just lost causes at this point. And they're the ones tilting this match for us, believe it or not. So, yeah, I don't want to make too much of it. Plymouth were not good whatsoever. They're a terrible side. But like I said in the chat, you can only beat what's in front of you. And we did that pretty well today. We comprehensively beat them. And something that we can take some momentum from. Thank God, because we needed it badly. And Grant needed it really badly. So to go out there and perform like we did today, can't be anything other than happy with it.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Okay, so there they are. So a lot more this week, Killer, than what we had last week. So they obviously only sing when they're winning, the squadlings. Lads, so this past week I've been sat alone. I've watched your light and dream about those playoff nights and everything we need to know. Our number 12's Radinho. You remind us of Goodall and Brown and every hero to play for Town. You make us laugh, you make us cry, you make us feel like we can fly. You fill us with so much joy. Your silky runs in front of the cowshed boys. And so, we'll always care, we'll complain when you're not there. You have the pace, you have the power. You're yet to have your finest hour. Sing it. Sing it, Phil.
Radinho.
All we need is Radinho, Balka. Yeah, Balka. Fantastic week for him. It was never in doubt how good a football he is, how good a defender he is. He's a slightly different conversational topic because he does have his weaknesses aerially and in terms of like against a big striker. But as a technical footballer, I don't want to speak in hyperbole, Killer, and there's a danger I might. But have Huddersfield Town ever had a better centre-back on the ball than Radinho Balka? Because some of the things he does are ridiculous for a centre-back. Some of the turns out of danger, what he did in the second half where he picked the ball up with a touch, ghosted, because he's doing John Cena there, ghosted past two people, then clipped the ball over for Ruben Ruskin was... That's a Premier League defender does that. League One defenders don't do that at all. I mean, League One defenders do win basic headers against Tom Eaves, by the way, before anyone comes back at me like that. But things he can do are just unbelievable. It's just such a crying shame that he can't stay fit. Because if he did, it'd be gone, wouldn't it? It'd be long gone. It'd be sold and we'd have made some money on it. But he's just a fit Radinho Balka would be insane at this level. If you could get 30 games fit, Phil, out of him this year, how good would he be, though?
Kev Gray.
He's not Kevin Gray.
10 times more technical. No, do you know, it was the calming presence. Just 5 yards driving into the midfield and zinging a pass into a forward position, not like a little sideways pass, into a tight area, zinging, and then you're on the half turn. They're the dangerous passes. He's playing balls in like midfielders would do. It just makes a massive difference. And obviously with his pace as well, he gets himself out of a lot of trouble, but he doesn't really put himself in trouble either because he's obviously a skilled performer and he knows how to play the game properly. So it's just, like you said, it's just such a shame with his injuries. I think he looked in better shape than what he has done before. He looked a little bit lighter, which is only a positive. But yeah, it's just a shame because you know what? We start getting excited about having a centre-half like him. And then you lose them way too quickly, and then you're back to square one, really, because you can't really plan a team around him because you don't know what you're going to get in terms of injuries. So fingers crossed, hopefully, he might go through a nice run of games and stay fit.
He's off to Suriname, isn't he? That's the shame, isn't it? He's going to Suriname, and last time he came back from there, came back with an ankle injury. So,
15. Yeah. If you got 15 games in a row now out of him. It could set us up nicely, couldn't it? Do you know what I mean? But I thought those two look brilliant. Feeney's
quality. He's quality, isn't he?
Assured on the ball. And it was interesting what you said about Joe Lowe, really, because I've not really been on the pod and had some discussions. But I don't think he's a bad defender, but he's definitely one of those typical massive, strong centre halves that's horrendous in and around the side of him. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that he's going to have to learn. At this level, you're okay. But when you go up another level and you've got really quick movement in and around you, you're screwed.
He just backs off, doesn't he, Phil? He just backs off. Yeah. He's scared of getting done for pace, and it sets us back 10, 15 yards. As soon as any ball comes into midfield or the final third, he's having to set off backwards, so everybody else has to go with him.
That's reading the game. I don't think he's reading the game like he should be doing. But did he play in a 3 when he went at Wickham?
At times, yeah.
Centre over 3. I could stick Cosy at centre half, at centre over 3 for Town, and I can stand behind him and tell him where to go.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Cosy, Feeney, and Balka in a back 3 for Town.
Feeney and Balka, Cosy just pulling. He's listening,
organising. Yeah, like the Rob Page 2025.
Bolka yesterday was fantastic, and now my father-in-law sponsors Bolka, Phil, if you don't know. Anyway, right? So he ain't getting his money's worth this year, right? He ain't getting his money worth at all. And yesterday, he actually went to. I don't know if no, unfortunately not. Maybe that's what we need to do for next season. Get physio to sponsor. Maybe Rich can do that. So I might actually get that shirt from yesterday, knowing Radino Bolka. He might only play. That might be only home game we get his match one shirt from. So that could end up in my garage for next year. That one. Bolka's fantastic. He is fantastic. Like you say, defensively, he's okay. I think I'll say he's okay. Positioning's fine, fine to good. His pace gets him out of trouble. There was one where I think he actually got injured when Talai went past him once, and he got him last second, last-ditch challenge. Yeah. Slid outside of his right foot, got the ball away, and that's fine. But I think that's when he either cramped up or he pulled something. Yeah. But that's the only thing with Bolka. The makeup of him, he's not great aerially, is it? He's not great on his duels. Because he's a big guy, though, he does get put up against big strikers. I think he's given that role. And I think because of that, Phil, I think he's actually been told to bulk up. And that's why I think he was bigger, again, getting ready for the League One or Championship English football. He's put a bit of beef on. And then his injuries got worse. And I think, like you say, he looks a little bit slimmer now. And I think you just have to accept with him, he isn't going to be physical. He isn't going to win those headers. But he's fine because on the ball, when you're a team like Town in this division where you're going to have a lot of possession, you're going to have a lot of teams that sit deep, give you the ball and want you to play out from the back. That's when you need a Radinho Bolka. Honestly, my favourite moment of yesterday's game was when Bolka got it and they went to press him and then they didn't. They thought, nah, we'll just let him pass it out. And he pinged one over to Sorensen on the right-hand side in front of Kilnabank. It must have been 60 minutes. Honestly, he's pinged it 50 yards straight to Sorensen's chest. It's on the highlights. I can't remember which chance it was involved. It might have been the corner that was the corner prior to the one we scored from for the Charles goal. It was just brilliant.
If someone's told Bolka to beef up, to deal with strong centre forwards, they need shooting. That's ridiculous. Because like Alan Hansen was the skinniest bloody centre half I've ever seen, and he was probably the best central defender for Liverpool. Did anybody see when there was a free kick and Bolka put it down on the floor and pinged it with his left peg?
Oh, I did, yeah. Do you know, my mate, we were sat there and we're like sometimes my mate Tom says, do you know, sometimes it's too easy for Balka. And he turns into Ronnie O'Sullivan and starts playing left-handed. It
was like watching a professional at Soccer Aid. Do you know when they just bring him on for 10 minutes and it's like, oh, he's still got it, hasn't he? It was like that Balka yesterday.
Well, that horrible moment, though, back end of the game, though, where I think he drove a ball long field and then he kind of stopped and he went down and thought, no. And then I thought, this is the time when it's coming off. But I thought, I think there's a stadium held its breath. It were like, Jesus, not again, mate. But
I think maybe some cramp at some point. But
yeah.
I mean, he's played twice in a week for the first time since February or something like that. I need to look that up. But he played a couple of times in a week and then got injured last time. So hopefully he comes back from Suriname all right.
I wonder if you played this podcast back in February, then do you remember when we were talking about Bolka, Radulovic, and Dion Charles, you know, like people that we thought were long gone out of the side, and all of a sudden, obviously, because needs must, but it'll be fascinating to know whether they'll still be around in sports.
Freddie's not got a club yet, Cozzy, you never know.
No, it's...
season. I can't believe they got rid of him.
No.
Freddie Liddell. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, Kasumu was last season, Kasumu wasn't fancied at all, and then he ended up being, for quite a period, our best central midfielder for a little period last season from like October till Christmas, and then he got a new contract and got injured. So, like everyone else, I mean, it can happen. Lee Nichols came back. We thought Lee Nichols were on his way in the summer, didn't we? And he's come back in and done quite well. Joe Lowe, we've not been overly fond of, but you know, maybe next to Watmore again or Balka, if something happens, he could look a different player. And they do look, you know, sometimes it's the styles of two players. I think League One, you just have to get your best players on the pitch and get the player next to them who brings the best out of them. And sometimes that's all you need to do in League One. And getting the ball forward early and making the opposition make mistakes is basically how Bradford City got to the top of the league, you know, early in the season. Just get the ball forward early, get them make the opposition make mistakes and capitalize on them, and that's half the battle. Half the battle.
Forward runs, ball forward early, like you say, it is literally as simple as that. And you're right, nail it head, make mistakes. Just put it in the areas and just.
That's League One, isn't it?
It is. But it's every league, though. To be honest, do you know what I mean? It's every league. As long as you've got a structure when defensively, you should be able to back yourself with a back four and two in front of those to be able to defend an area. Jesus Christ, you should be able to do that. Attacking, you just be positive and just have forward runners non-stop. Turn them, get them in there.
Canate made a bit of a mistake, didn't he, with Haaland today? So, you know, it happens, like you say, Phil, at Premier League level.
Yeah.
So, thought I'd just get
Yeah,
that
Matt,
chance.
you're watching a Premier League game. I'm just having a heart attack. Hello.
It was on in the living room while I was doing the vacuuming, and it
while we
happened.
were vacuuming and making tea.
Yeah. And then
Doku's
Doku's
goal
goal.
that game. I didn't see what scored. Any
3-0. 3-0.
3-0.
When Doku scored, I was upstairs doing the vacuum when Doku scored, and I was trying to show Charlie, because Charlie he's like a right footer who likes to come in from the left, and I was saying, this is what you need to do with that sort of sidestep, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm playing on his tablet. I'm like, yeah, okay, never mind.
Oh, they're not
interested. Not interested. It's 7 years old. Isn't it?
Talk about six. The game of German second division. I love my niche football, and Uwe Rosler's still going strong at the side of the pitch.
Go on, lad.
Baldy, yeah. My God.
The guy he was. I remember it. Who was? Oh, it was the other guy. Brian Horton brought him in for Man City, didn't he? With the other. Do you remember the other German guy? Can you remember his name?
No.
Maurizio Gaudino. That was who they brought in at the same time, wasn't it? Gaudino and Rosler came over, and that was when it was like a novelty to get German players. But anyway, Town women have lost today, unfortunately, in the FA Women's Northern League Plate second round against Cheadle Town Stingers. Seemed a bit of a harsh one, this one, because Town were 1-0 up until towards the end, and then a penalty equalised, and then they've lost it late on. But I think the small mercy on that one, Cozzy, is it's not in the league, because Cheadle Town Stingers are bang up at the top, aren't they? And
Interesting. Yeah. What does Mourinho say? I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I get in big trouble. Yeah, let's just move on. But they've got Leeds at home next week, I think, in the Upper Cup. So yeah, it's tough one. Cheadle have beaten them twice now, mate. But that's getting really tight at the top and that as well. But apparently today they were unlucky. So yeah, just. But all good, man. All good.
Got a player called Lord Mears. I think it's a brilliant name, but she's got a double-barreled surname. It comes across as Lord Mears, and it's just a brilliant name. Is that Lord Mears? Like Lord Mears runs down the wing. Just reading on the Twitter thing, it's quite fun. The last thing really is go on, Cos.
The last thing I want to mention about that Alzheimer's Association money that I was chatting to Robin a couple of nights ago. I could not believe it. 49,000, like nearly £50,000, like raised for that walk, Dennis Law. Just incredible. Honestly, time after time, the club just when you kind of get frustrated with stuff on that. Honestly, we've said it millions of times, haven't we? But how does she do it? How do they do it as a team? It's incredible. Just chatting to Boothie yesterday. Obviously not everyone's got flush pockets and people are struggling. I mean, Sean Jarvis again getting this pedal for pounds going for Marcus Stewart. We've got some of the biggest started like people, even though they're not. A lot of them are kind of not associated with the club now. Maybe they're being backers or whatever. But honestly, it just makes me so proud. I could not believe it. You know, when you're scrolling through, you think like 50,000. Like it's just incredible, isn't it? And we're beautiful. Dennis Law's, let me get this right. Family member just says they couldn't believe it, and it's just like, and when you think about, obviously, he's always known about for Man United really and that as well. But it's like. I just think it's a beautiful thing that where it all began for him is that he's still supporting him and his family and his stuff and his charity and that as well. And I just, honestly, just so much respect for everyone involved at the club. Amazing, man.
Yeah, fantastic work. And Killer's going to clad the lycra for the pedal for pounds as well. And we're looking for a team. Andy takes that chance, aren't we? We've potentially got 3 or 4. Andy Kay's joining him. Who else is there? Someone else as well. One of your mates in the Killer.
We're up to 4. I think we're up to 4. I think I've got 4 in my team, including myself. But I was nominated to do the cycle as being the only one fit enough. I think, Matt. I'm the opposite of the bulker of the team.
That is true. Yeah, I think
I'm the Sean Rowan. I'm the Rowan of this team when it comes to availability. So no, I'm looking forward to it. It's obviously for a very, very worthwhile cause. And it was Marcus' birthday yesterday, was it? The day before?
Yeah, happy birthday, Marcus.
There you go. But yeah, there's 4 of us so far. So, and I think we've got a couple in the Discord that might be on it as well, Matt. So we may creep up to having our own embarrassingly slow team.
Yeah, Mr. Jimmy Islip, if he can squeeze in as well, so he can offer you advice on what saddle to reduce the soreness.
Lovely.
Phil. God, honestly, Matt, you've said you've got nothing to do and I've killed your agenda. But Phil, what do you make of our electronic scoreboard? The replays are really refreshing, and I think, good, that's what we need because you're wanting to see something that makes it worthwhile for it to be up there. But I just think there's so much. I don't know. I'm a bit underwhelmed by kind of the content on it, really, and that's why we've got these big. It's like going back 40 years. We've got the scores at the bottom in like font Ford and that no one can see. You've got massive no and stuff. I'm just thinking. I suppose people say, well, what do you expect on it? But I don't know. I just was wanting a bit more.
Rocket runs on the run is what I want on it, like the good old days.
I like it, and it don't restrict my view where I'm sat either, so it's absolutely fantastic. But the first thing I noticed this weekend was it was showing all the scores from the league coming across the bottom. That was a nice little touch. I like that. Do you know what I mean?
Used to do that before, didn't
you
it?
want to see it back because you're goalkeeping, aren't you? You want to see it.
This is long and this is nice and clear. Do you know what I mean? It's like. Yeah. So I don't know. I quite like it, but you're right, Cosy. I think there's probably more they can do with it. I would have thought. I don't know why they've gone so big. I mean, has anyone actually explained why they've made it so big?
Do you know what? It's the thing is with it, Phil, is if you sit higher than you can't see it. And because of where it's situated, because it's right at the back of the stand.
Yeah.
So if you sit any kind of level,
so can't you see it?
You can't see it.
You got to duck. You have to duck and see.
It said Matt Shaw is a weapon yesterday. Didn't you see that? It's second half.
They need another one, don't they? They need one for you.
Whoppers and weapon shouts.
Get out of our cupboards, I think. Yeah.
They need one for you lot, don't they? Really? But I don't know. Like, what were you thinking, Cosy? Like put a film on at half time or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
I'll tell you, Phil. It's a little thing, mate. But for me, with players are getting subbed off, we get 5 changes a game, mate. And for someone like me, an elderly, and that, who's still on, who's not? I haven't got a program. Show the bloody teams. Show the team to 11, and then like you'll probably see it. I feel whatever. Just like they've only got that little board, haven't they? By copy.
Yeah, it's tiny. Yeah. There's not there.
Yeah, it's always had that. But just like that, you can kind of players coming in and out, just a little bit where you can follow it. But no, I'm sure it'll get better than that as well. But it's quite funny actually when Dion Charles scores, he's got like that thing, that graphic in it, just like going like that with his head in it. It's just like
I don't get it. I literally do not look at the scoreboard at any point in that game. We score. I know what score it is. I don't.
Yeah, that's just it. We're not scoring, so do something else. But yeah. You can
But
tell that with one, can't you?
They show the replay on it, don't they? So like.
Yeah, that was good yesterday, mate. Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a good thing, because if it's offside, because obviously we have some really shit officials. So if there's an issue on a lead up to it, then I don't know if it's going to cause any problems in the ground. If with the fans.
Hey, do we show the replays of goals we concede? Do you know, like every time we win, we get a new podcast, or we get a unrestricted episode, or something like that, right? Is it the same? Like if we lose and we're conceding goals, they won't show the replays of the other team's goals. I'm just not entirely sure. I'd like to. I'm going to keep an eye out for that one, Matt. I'll have to duck under and see if I can see the scoreboard from our seats.
Cotty, do you know what would be good if like fans could send in like a video like this of them like celebrating, so like, and then put it on the board when we score. Do you know what I mean? So like different fans every game going like that. And then if we lose, like fans going onto a boo, do you know what I mean? That'd be class. I think that'd be a great idea. Put that to Kevin. I'm putting that to Kevin.
It's funny what you're saying there. My mate worked for Real Madrid TV, and they never show any games where Real Madrid have lost. It's incredible. Their TV channel will always show games that they've won. It's just unbelievable. It's like.
I mean, there's enough of them in the Cosy, so they win enough
games.
So.
It's so funny they'll lose a Classico, that you put it on and showing like Gareth Bale looking at goal against Liverpool back in the day or what have you. But it's good in it to see that and that as well. And we just want it right on the pitch. And them 2 away games are huge out there coming up. You just want some more evidence, don't you, that this is a bit of a turning point. But
I'm going to say the last question is can Grant turn a corner with the opinion of fans? These next 3 games are tricky, aren't they? Mansfield, Luton, and we've got Cardiff, haven't we, on December 6th as well. So
is it Wimbledon, isn't it? Third one, yeah.
Did anybody see the interview from the chairman of Man United about Amorim? And they asked him about like how long he's been given, etc. And he flat just turned around and said, "You're 3 years." He says, "How can he implement his strategies and the way he wants to be and transfers, etc. In less than 3 years?" He says, "We're going to give him an opportunity." And the other day, I looked at how many managers we've used. In God, wow.
Is it like 11 in 5 years or something like that?
When do we stop? When do we actually stop and just go? Because we're always going to, if things aren't going right now at the moment, the way we are as a fan base, we're always going to whinge because it's like the end of the world. Like, oh, this is awful, blah blah. We're playing crap football. We're not winning games. So when do we stop and we go, right? Let's go have to give someone a chance. It's going to have to start somewhere.
They always want a head on a stick, don't they? That's the problem. Yeah. That's the culture that we've kind of had over the last few years, where we've become a sacking club, and then as soon as we lose 3 games, it's like everyone wants a head on a stick, whether it's the director of football, whether it's the head coach or whatever. And I've never been Lee Grant out at any point this season. He's annoyed me, and there's things that we've taken the piss a little bit, haven't we, Killer? We have the pitch geography lesson for the driving and stuff like that, which is more good-natured than anything. But we've never been Lee Grant out at any point, because you have to stop at some point and plant something and let it grow. That's the problem. And I don't want him to get sacked, because if he gets sacked, then we've failed again, and it's another wasted season. So I want to see where this goes. There are things I like about him, the things that I'm not sure about, and things I don't like. I think everyone's the same, but I'm trying to stay open-minded on him to give him as much chance as possible to succeed, because I'm bored of the churn of managers constantly, and I don't dislike Lee Grant at all. Sometimes I quite like listening to him. I think sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it goes a bit overboard. And Killer on his radio leads thing on Saturday, do you know what? It's like some managers go, lads, and it was like group. You know what I mean? It's like group. Every word was like group this, group that.
He's new. He's learning his own style. He's new to the role. He's learning just as much as anybody else. Do you know what I mean? So he's going to go. He would probably look back at these interviews in 3 or 4 years' time and go, "Oh my God, I'm waffling there." Do you know what I mean?
David Brent,
yeah. Do you know what I mean? So he's new. It's I
think he's I think he's a genuine guy from what I can see, and I want him to do well. I'm just fed up of we've lost 3 games. Change it, and I'm hoping Kevin Nagel's sort of the same now, where he's like, do you know what? I can't keep sacking people. There are no short-term fixes anymore. We've got to implement something like the guy at Man United said. We've got to implement something over the longer term, because Kevin Nagel isn't going to put in 15 million quid a season to waste money on Freddie Ladapo and on all this every year. We've got to let partnerships build. You've got to let coaches coach. You've got to let them get players better. You've got to let them get used to things. And we haven't done that for years. And with Lee Grant,
to be fair though, I don't think Town fans have been too bad this time round with this. I think the football has been quite dire. I think the results have been awful.
Depends where you look. It depends where you look. And I think you can always depends which window you look through.
Yeah, but I think generally, it's normally worse. I think there's normally more of an outcry. I think the actual debate I've been having with myself in regards to Grant and what he's done up until now is not, is it right to sack him, in my opinion, or do I think the team would be better for it? But would Kevin Nagel think it's the right time to go? And I do think when he flew in last week and Lee Grant came out with, we've got 3 games in 7 days, and we've put our first team out in every single game, and we've gone out to win those games, which we didn't do in cup games prior to that. I think there's been a bit of a rocket somewhere given. And there's been an emphasis on going to win. So I don't actually just think it's Town fans and how they are, but it's like say what Kevin Nagel expected.
The same. He's the one who set the.
But I don't think with Lee Grant, I don't think that the how poor the results have been, and like say you could look at the form guys, and there was 6 red dots beneath our name up until last 2 days ago. The form has been dreadful, but I do think even Town fans have learned a little bit more. And I'm not saying we're all there. No, we're not all there just yet. But most of the group of Town fans are on board somewhat, understanding that there is a lot of work to be. Do you know what? I'm doing it. I'm falling for it. It's me now chucking in the getting to work, the groups, the all this kind of nonsense. But I do feel on the whole, Town fans with Lee Grant and this season have modified their own expectations somewhat. I think last year we expected a lot more from the club, and as soon as Duff's form turned a little bit, because everyone liked how Duff spoke. I don't think anybody disliked Michael Duff from the fan base, but the form went, and then it was quite vociferous again. He needed to go, whatnot. But this time round, I didn't feel like it was the same with Lee Grant. And to be fair, though, it is surprising when you look at the football and But the football was off. The football has been awful. It's not like we've played our way into what's just happened in the last 2 games. This is very much out of the blue, isn't it? The good performances we've just put in. It's not like we've warmed up into it. I don't feel like. I think he's just.
Well, he's not out of the world. You have to clarify because there'll be people clicking the dislike button and all sorts now. So you have to clarify. He's not out of the woods yet, is it?
Oh,
so we're
no,
talking about
not
whether
at
he
all.
can turn this corner. Because if we lose the next 3, then the heat goes back on again, and then all of a sudden Kevin Nagel's flying back in again and going, "Hang on, what's going on now?" And it's.
But it goes back to what we were just talking about. Like when do we stop? Do you know what I mean? And I get it. I get it. I 100% get it. You know, but we've tried and tried and tried with different managers, and then they lose, and we don't give them time. And then so when does it stop? We're getting so Grant has 5 fixtures now where he loses, right? 5 in a row. We sack him because it's not good enough, right? We get another manager in. They do exactly the same. Till the end of the season, oh, he was shit. Let's get another manager in. Where do we stop? That's my and I don't know the answer. I don't know if it's right or wrong, whether it's but I'm just saying there's got to be something at some point, aren't there, where we just go right. That's a decision.
Yeah. So if you lose 6-7, Huddersfield Town with one of the biggest budgets in the league, you're losing 6-7 games in a row, and then obviously people are going to go, do you know what? It's not good enough. He's got better tools at his disposal to do well.
Yeah.
But it is a balancing act, isn't it? That
I don't think he's going to lose. I don't think he's going to lose like as many games. If we, like you say, if we have a bit of time where we get these players back, I think we're going to start seeing some better performances. I really do.
Yeah, I think the injuries have killed him. I think I still think there's a lack of experience in the coaching and everything. And I think he does need a director of football or someone more experienced to lean on at times as well, and maybe they can come in and do things. There's a couple of people in the White Rose Club on Saturday who could do a decent job, but Lee Bromby was there with a former Bolton guy. But moving on from that, and I don't mean Lee there as much as I like Lee, but I just think I don't think that the whole package is there yet with Lee Grant. I still think there are things that he needs there, and I think once we get injured players back and he can implement different things again, then maybe we'll see what he's made of. But for me, has he turned a corner? No, it's 2 games. Can he turn a corner? Yes, but he can't find something that's working and then go, do you know what? We didn't play particularly great against Mansfield. Let's go back to what we were doing where we're losing 6 in a row. He's got to stay the course now, and he's got to learn and adapt. And if he does that, then great. If he doesn't, then he's going to be in danger again. But I'm fed up of the churn. I want him to work out. I'm bored of the management thing.
How's Corberan doing in Spain?
You know what, mate? I sent a message there, we're losing. We're about 10 minutes to go, and to be honest, they reckon he's going. They don't take long, but they got an equaliser, mate. But I think what the kind of stuff that's coming out there is a lot of the players are not buying into the stuff now. Apparently, because he's a very intense guy, and I think that kind of stuff. Last year when they were on their ass, it's like give us this strength and that, and he did. But now it's like he's got that intensity and that we know. So it's like I think a lot of their players sod that. I can't be asked.
Is that a culture thing, do you reckon, Cos? Do you think because that's similar to Town in some ways?
They're like Town, though. They just change every other week. The managers and stuff. It's a joke, and they don't get backed and stuff. It's pretty similar, but
maybe the coaches are the problem there. Maybe it's similar to Town because we're looking out now at that, thinking, do you know what? You've got a decent manager who's gone in there and he's done the job, and the same players are now after going up, getting so high when they're winning, killer. They're now sort of reverting to type a little bit. Maybe
it's so tough on that if you're an owner and stuff, because it's all right saying it, but imagine we get 1 point in the next 2 away games and we go down to 14th, and and it's like, and then. But it's for someone to say, look, we've got a lot of injuries. This is our man. But like you said, just changing it doesn't seem to work as well. It's such a tough one. I kind of can see a lot of it from a lot of sides. It's like you see that Liam Manning obviously got binned off. What's 2 wins in 15 and stuff. Maybe they should be doing better and stuff. Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean they've done well since they got rid of David Wagner after he was public enemy number 1.
Yeah, like that.
Dickheads.
And stuff. But it's But Huddersfield, I think for our large, it would have fairly run club, would not? But it's just gone crazy, hasn't it?
It needs to settle. Everything needs to settle? And I don't know. I understand why people are
fine now, mate. It's so frustrating. But again, we don't want to go for old ground like we have done.
No, I understand why people are sort of saying it's not good enough. We need to change managers. I get it. I do understand it. but I also think we've been conditioned to think that way when in the short term. And I understand it. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's for some people it's right, for some people it's not. And it's my opinion. It's just my opinion that at some point we just need to settle and let something breathe, even if it's tough in the short term. And it is tough because we do this podcast every week, and it has been crap, hasn't it? And you sat there thinking, well, why is it crap? He's picking the wrong team. The system's not right. And you go through all these different things which you think can be contributing to it. And it's hard sometimes to not sort of go, well, the manager's not doing the best job. Maybe we need to bring a different one in. And it's hard to get out of that cycle. But I'm trying to shake that off. You know what I mean? And I don't want that anymore. And a mate of mine said, Tom, he was looking through like the longest serving managers. Do you know who the last Town manager? And he was on about Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's just done 4 years at Newcastle. Do you know who the last Town manager to do 4 years was?
Jacko?
No.
Clark can do 4 years today.
Mick Buxton. That's before I started watching Town.
That's
Mick Buxton in the early 80s. That's the last guy to do 4 years, apparently. I haven't looked this. I haven't fact checked this, so if you don't, then have a go at Master Cracker on down at the Mac. That's I've just outed him, or the Discord. So yeah, and just have a go at him anyway because he's a shithouse. But 4 years, and that's crazy, isn't it? Because you look at and he was saying, you look at the list of managers. Go look at the list of managers for Rangers before so and so, and they have managers for like 10 years, 15 years, and Town are like 18 months. It's just, and I think sometimes I think part of the trick is getting the right person in the first place, because that is so key, isn't it? But you've just got to let people do the job, basically, haven't you? And put your faith in them. And I just want. I know we're waffling now, but I just want Lee Grant to work out because I'm just fed up of change, of the constant change. I just am.
By the way, that is in essence that's what it is. We are.
I'm just I'm crossing. Basically, I'm crossing my fingers, hoping he's the right guy, and he might not be. And do you know what I mean? He might not be. We don't know yet. And Killer said earlier that he's got no to coin a Grantism. He's got no body of work to fall back on, Killer. So you don't know he's done this before. So you don't know he's turned things around before. You don't know how good a coach he is. So you do question it because it's his first job. But we're just gonna have to ride this one. And I really hope he gets us in the top 6 this year, because that would be a success whether we do go up or not. I think that would be the barometer for success. He would have to go one better the year after. Don't get me wrong, but I think if he got us in the top 6, even if we lost in the playoffs, it would guarantee him another year. And I'm hoping that's the minimum that we'll get this year. Cause he's laughing, I don't know what, but it maybe wants Eric Ten Hag in just because he looks like
it's just mad. He's been here for a matter of months and we're talking about another year and all this.
It's pretty mad, isn't it? It's pretty mad.
It is great.
That's right. Yeah.
It is pretty mad. I think part of me feels like he doesn't have everything he needs in place, and once he has that, he's got no excuses. But I don't know. I want it to work out. But anyway, we're waffling, and it's probably time to end this.
Yeah, mate.
recording.
You didn't mention Virtue Trophy. Lifts that Virtue Trophy at Wembley, mate. Come on.
Mate, I'm all up for that. Town have never won that. If Town could win League One,
not many were overnight, were there? 900 and odd.
If Town could win that and League One, then we would probably would we be the only team that's won all 4 divisions on the Virtue, or have Bolton done it? I don't know. I'll have to look.
Someone else has done it, yeah. Someone else has definitely done it. But can you imagine the length of the documentary we'd get if we did win the Virtue Trophy? It would be unrestricted.
It would be right onto Netflix.
It would be incredible. And for that reason alone, I'm all in. I'd be there, Matt.
Negflix. I think that's all we've got time for. I can hear some music in the background. Phil, great to see you again. Cozzy, good to see you again, buddy. You could let you get back to the Spanish football. Killer. We'll be back on the drive-in. And remember to sign up for www.takesthatchance.com. You can even join the free one, and you will get some added perks in and amongst there. So that's it. That's all for me, all for us, and all from Cozzy's loving Dennis Bojkamp. And we'll be back pretty soon.
Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Don't want no Man United, don't want no Liverpool, don't want no Arsenal. All we want is Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Don't want no Tottenham, don't want no Chelsea, don't want no Man City. All we want is Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Don't want no Man United, don't want no Liverpool, don't want no Arsenal. All we want is Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. All together now. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright. Huddersfield Town, Huddersfield blue and white. Huddersfield Town, everything's gonna be alright.